Hi there. So I'm Carlos Aragon. I am doing the presentation on an article called Helping Bangladesh to Move with its Digital Transformation Roadmap. This was an interview that the Daily Star website newspaper did with the COO of Microsoft Southeast Asia New Markets. Her name is Reena Chai, and she sat down with the reporter, the interviewer, for a quick one-on-one and answered a number of questions. And so I'm going to walk through the presentation, kind of the key takeaways. So the very first question was kind of, why is Bangladesh an important focus for Microsoft? And there are a couple of reasons. It's the fastest growing economy in the world. Second fastest growing economy in the world. Microsoft wants to make some deep inroads into technology. Bangladesh does as well. And Microsoft says that it wants to talk about inspiring and empowering people. So what that means for Microsoft is they want to empower every person, every organization to achieve more. They view technology as an enabler. They want to be a global leader. Basically, they want to use technology and their resources to help improve the lives of average Bangladeshis. They've done that with what they're calling the National Empowerment Plan. This is actually a plan that Microsoft has put together and has rolled out not only to Bangladesh, but to a number of different countries around the world. And essentially, it's a platform for a cloud-based digital transformation. Essentially, here's how developing nations can improve their economies. So all that being said, there are some interesting challenges in Bangladesh. So first of all, Bangladesh has about 160 million people. 82 million of them are in the workforce, 30% of them are young. Bangladesh, however, isn't a particularly educated country. There is a shortage of the skilled labor force, particularly with technology. So what Microsoft has been doing is they're developing this thing called Microsoft Youth Spark, which in a nutshell is trying to get people trained on computer hardware and software. Some of the initiatives are focused on women and girls, but otherwise it's just a generalized thing. So another question that Reena was asked was regional technology trends, and she thinks that there's basically a fourth industrial revolution. The technology is changing the way that the current systems of production, distribution, and consumption work, and the impact can be good or bad. So there is an enormous opportunity for change, but there's also some drawbacks. The benefits are obvious. I mean, we have more access to people and places and things, but the majority of the world's population isn't benefiting from technology. So that's one of the key things that Microsoft is seeking to do. Another question, which I think I talked about a little bit as well, was what's going on with education and the development of women. And I think Microsoft and Reena thought that Microsoft has a responsibility to develop women and to develop their technology and their educational opportunities. So in Bangladesh, a couple of things have happened. There's a Surfer Girls program that addresses digital literacy and service engineering training. There's a teacher training program. And then there's this really cool Windows Women program for entrepreneurs, which, again, really tries to get women trained as service engineers. So one of the things talked about at the beginning was how is Microsoft working with the government? Well, there's the outline of the plan that I already talked about. But in a nutshell, Microsoft is working closely with the government of Bangladesh to address education and training standards, particularly for women. So my key takeaway from reading this article was, I think there's two things. One is that the article was largely PR. It was, here's all the great things that Microsoft is doing and how wonderful it is. And there were definitely some good things Microsoft was doing. But it was, pretty short on details, and there were some broad generalities. I think the other thing, which I wrote on the second or third page of this presentation, but kind of got omitted, is the reality is Bangladesh is cheap. I have personal experience working with folks in India and Bangladesh. A job that will cost $500 for folks in India will cost $3,000 or $4,000 for folks here in the States, will cost about $150 to $250 in Bangladesh. Bottom line, that's kind of it with Bangladesh. There's really no other reason to go there because the technology base has to be developed. But when you have a price point that's that low, it becomes a very appealing partner and a technology partner.